Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Inconsistent Vlogging with Lucy. I haven't vlogged in 2 months, I think. Christmas was fine. I don't really like Christmas as an event. I feel like I put so much pressure on it being a good day and then it's fine. Got some good presents. I spent time with Rach and Layla, spent a little bit of time cuddling my dogs. It was good.
Right.
Then I went to Colorado with Rach and Layla, because clearly I hadn't spent enough time with them yet already. We spent almost 2 weeks in Colorado and it was very cool. We saw the new year in, we had Rachel's birthday, we had Layla's birthday, and it was a really good trip. Exactly. I won't be going back to America for the foreseeable future. When we got back, I was focusing on assessments. I literally locked myself in a room for a week and didn't really surface other than to eat or sleep because I had so much to do and deadlines, and it was genuinely so intense. But I got everything in. I've got a couple of my marks back. I should have a couple of them back by the end of the week, hopefully in this vlog. And yeah, that's kind of a recap of what's been going on since I last filmed. I've been back at uni for 3 weeks. I went back home after the first week for my sister's birthday party. She had her birthday, like I said, when we were in America. So she wanted to have a party where she could have all of her friends here, all in one room, and that was very nice. And then, yeah, straight back here. I've thought about filming a couple of times, but I just wasn't really in the mood. I've been feeling very motivated recently. I've been doing a lot of reading, which I will come back to at another point because I have a lot of thoughts that I want to get out about a few books that I've been reading. And it struck me the other day that I haven't told you what I thought of Babel, which I finished right before I think I finished it in December. And I never said what I thought of it, and I loved it, but I'm gonna do a little, I think I've got 3 books that I want to talk about, so I'll do that at a different point. But the reason that I've hit record today is because yesterday I spent the entire day thinking about cutting my own hair. I've never done this, but it's happening. It's just gonna be a trim. I just feel like it's getting too long. I've been getting the urge to shave it all off, which I have done before. I donated my hair when I was 13 and I got a buzz cut. It was a number 4, it was very short, and I really liked it really short. And I do intend to do that again at some point, but in order to donate it, you need natural coloured hair. It doesn't have to be your natural hair, but it has to be a natural colour. Purple obviously isn't natural. Would you even say it's purple anymore? Who knows? But obviously my roots are growing through, as you can see. And I have decided I want to grow it out anyway into my natural hair, whether I chop it all off or not. I want it to be my natural colour. And I just thought maybe I could give it a little trim. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie up these front pieces because I don't want to affect these front pieces in any way. And then give it a trim. Pause. I need my brush. Is this insane to do? Probably. I don't know where this urge has come from. I've basically just been... Aww, that's so cute. Look at that little wisp. I've been growing it out for quite a while now, after many, many years of keeping it shoulder length, roughly. Okay, come on. Had it in a claw clip all day. I think it needs a wash too, but I've got it in a middle part. Look at her, she's so cute. Actually, I bet you wouldn't want it behind your ears. Okay, so apparently you tie it under your chin. I actually need another bobble, so I'm gonna take this out. I also saw someone say that this wasn't a good idea because you get split ends really quickly if you use normal scissors and not like hairdresser shears. I don't even have a mirror in front of me. I just have my phone in front. I'm gonna get a mirror. This feels like a bad idea. I'm gonna tie it one more time because it's doing this strange... It looks so silly. Where's the other bobble gone? Okay, I look insane, but I have a mirror in front of me now. So apparently you split this in two. I might have to... And I'm going to post this on the internet, and that's on me. You know? If I... like that. Supposedly you part it in two. At this point, I am, like, actively getting rid of layers. I just have a bin down here. So we're just... supposed to be going out for a walk in 10 minutes. Well, it's been raining all week and it's finally subsided today. I'm thrilled. Okay. And then we do this. Also, the color's fading quite a bit. Layla helped me re-dye it before we went to America so that it was still a nice... Is that too blunt? Okay. Okay. I want to take more off. I don't know where this urge has come from. It's come very, very quickly. I've been growing it out for a while and I don't know. I do just get to a point where I'm like, I need rid of this.
I need to be free of this.
I don't know what my hairdresser's gonna say when I eventually go home and go, hey, so my hair is like 2 inches shorter than it was when you last cut it. I'll have to see if she watches my videos. I'm trying to space out. You can't really see what I'm doing, which is on me. Hold on. Is that better? My tripod broke, so I have you stacked on some books. Hope that's okay. I bet you still can't see what I'm doing, huh? Because I'm aiming for the bin. Okay. So I'm looking at my hair and I'm thinking maybe it would have been better to buy professional shears, but... that's okay. Okay. She's a little choppy, but I suppose the real thing is to see what it looks like from the back. I'm not ready for that yet. I'd really like to take some more off, but I don't see how I can do that if I'm going under my chin, because just to demonstrate. If I'm doing this, like there's only so, do you see how there's only so far I can see what I'm doing? I like it. I'd like to go a little shorter. I'd like to, I don't know if it's too risky. I mean, it looks pretty blunt. It's a blunt cut. I appreciate that. Like, I had a lot of layers and well, I think I've cut them out. I think I've gone short enough that I've cut out the layers, but I got a few still. I've got like a layer of layers. I've got layer, singular. I would like slightly shorter. Do I risk it? Maybe I leave it for now. I think I'm gonna leave it. I'm happy with this. This really could have gone worse. I'm gonna check the back. Hopefully it looks okay. If there are bits that are like really concerning, then I will fix, but I gotta leave in 5 minutes to go on this walk with Lauren. It's not even sunny anymore. It was really sunny this morning. It was so nice. And now it's clouded over. But beach will still be nice, so I'm gonna go on a walk now with my slightly shorter hair. Okay, it's been a couple of days. When we went out on our walk, we got rained on the way back, which I wasn't wearing a coat. I don't know why I wasn't wearing a coat, but I wasn't. And I got completely drenched, but it meant that when I got back, my hair was quite wet and I could like correct. It was a little on the wonk. It was a little on the wonk. And I could see when I watched the videos back, because obviously that was like how I checked. Because it's kind of hard to tell in a mirror, I think. And I was looking at it going, oh. But I have adjusted it since then. I think it's okay. It's not perfect by any means, but it's not, I don't think it's bad enough that you look at it and you go like, oh, that's really bad. Like, I think it could be worse. It could be better, but I think it could be worse. So I'm happy with that. Yesterday, I didn't really film because most of the stuff I did was just on my laptop, so it didn't really feel like it would be very interesting to watch. I basically spent the day updating my LinkedIn profile and doing like connection invitations. What's that called? You know when you press the connect button? Awful. And then I also messaged a couple of people to be like, hey, like, hi. I hate LinkedIn, which is probably not a good thing to be saying on a social platform. But I don't like how formal it is and how, because obviously the point is you want to put your best foot forward and you want to appear professionally and like you know what you're doing and like you're learning a lot from the opportunities that you're getting and all of this stuff. And I appreciate the point of it, but it just feels so synthetic and it makes me so uncomfortable. There was one person that I messaged who was so lovely and gave honest answers to the questions I asked, and I was just so grateful for that one moment of like genuine conversation because I felt so drained by the end of the day. And I do think, partly I think it was because I really felt like I was putting myself out there, which is hilarious because it's LinkedIn, like I need to calm down. But doing things like that feels slightly out of my comfort zone, like putting myself out and saying like, hi, like I want to have new opportunities. It just feels very scary. But I was kind of exhausted by the end of the day yesterday, which at the time I thought was dumb because I was like, I've barely done anything. I've just been in my room on my laptop doing things. Anyway, what else did I do yesterday? I bought my mum a birthday present, which I'm very happy about. She is currently looking after her mum, so she's further away than my home is. She's so far north, so I'm not going to see her on her birthday because I'm going to be here and she's going to be in the Lake District. So I've had it sent directly to her, and I've sent her a message saying like, don't open this until your birthday. So I don't know, that just made me so happy. I did so much yesterday. What else did I do? I washed my hair. The last few hours before I wash my hair, I feel like are the moments when I kind of hit my low. It's like I hit my low for the week and then I wash my hair and I'm like, wait, everything's gonna be okay. It's crazy how much of a difference that makes. I was also thinking about how crazy it is, like how attached we are to our hair. Obviously I cut it myself and it's not that different. Like I maybe took off maybe that much. It's not that different. I bet you're watching thinking like it looks kind of the same. But to me, it was kind of huge. And it's just so fascinating to me, our attachment to our hair, because it's so common that you see people like cutting their own hair and it's like this massive thing. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe I've just done that. And it's like, you're watching it as a viewer, understanding why it's such a big deal, but also thinking like, you haven't cut off that much and it looks great. Like, you know, it's not that big of a deal. But when it's your own hair, I don't know. I was thinking about that a lot yesterday. Anyway, quick side note, because I feel like it's very distracting. This is Alfie. I got him for Christmas. He's a weighted dog. So he's a weighted stuffed animal. So it's like, it gives the impression of, well, it doesn't give the impression of pressure, it gives pressure, which is something I really like. I left my weighted blanket at home, which I always do anyway, because I would be too hot here if I had my weighted blanket. Basically at home it's very cold, my room especially. It gets really, really, really cold in the winter and then really, really, really hot in the summer. But obviously it's just been winter and whenever I go home I use my weighted blanket. But I don't bring it here because this house is much more of a stable temperature and I'd be too hot if I had it. So my mum bought me a weighted animal because I find that very relaxing. So that's what he's doing there. On Wednesday I said I wanted to walk you through the books that I've been reading recently, so here we are. I finished this yesterday. I read it in under a week. If you don't know who this is, Susie Wolff is an ex-racing driver. She has managed a Formula E team and she is the current managing director of F1 Academy. She also happens to be married to Toto Wolff, who is the team principal of the Mercedes F1 team. I'm a big fan of this woman, and I was a big fan of this woman before I knew that she had a book. And the moment I found out she had a book, I pre-ordered it. On a whim, actually, because it was quite expensive, because it is the signed version, which I'm so thrilled about. But I picked this off my shelf less than a week ago because I just thought, I think it would be a really good time to read something that's motivating, and I just have a feeling this is going to be very motivating, and boy, was I right. It was so good. I got through it in 5 days, which is quite rare for me at the moment. I think it's been about a year since I read a book in less than a week, because I've been struggling to prioritise reading because assignments and everything have felt really overwhelming. But like I say, I read this in 5 days. Loved it. The only thing I would say, just as a small criticism, is that the phrasing got very repetitive. So a sentence structure that she really got the use out of was, she would say like, it wasn't about this, it was about this. So she would say, it wasn't about making a point, it was about proving such and such. And that was a structure that she used maybe like every other page. There would be a sentence with that structure. There's one example where I can find it. She uses that structure, then she has a sentence, and then she uses it again on the third sentence. Sentence 1 is that structure, sentence 2 isn't, and then sentence 3 is that structure again. And it's like, for the first half of the book, I barely noticed it because I was so absorbed in reading about her racing career, her time in karting, and then as she kind of built her way up, all of the stuff that she faced, and I was so into it. And then sort of, I maybe like the final third of the book, it just became so noticeable and it was starting to irritate me. I think if I reread the book, it would be a lot more noticeable than it was the first time, because I was just so in it and inspired. And I mean, without a doubt, she is an insanely driven woman. The level of determination, perseverance, refusing to give up, simply going up to people and asking them for the things that she wants because she knows that they can give it to her and that they have what she needs and that she's capable of it. I just find it so inspiring. I think because sometimes I struggle to have that go-getter attitude, and it's not that I'm not motivated or I don't want to put in the work. It's more that I'm scared to ask for things. Like, I'm scared to step into a room and be like, this is who I am and this is what I can do, give me a job. And she's just the queen of doing that. So I gave this 3 stars on Goodreads, which sounds harsh because I really enjoyed it, but the repetition of the phrasing really put me off towards the end. And I rate based on writing quality, and I just felt this could have done with a little bit, perhaps a little bit more editing towards the end, but probably throughout the whole thing, because like I say, I think I was just not paying attention to that at all in the first few pages. But I do really like how direct it is and straightforward and to the point, and this is what I did and this is how I did it and this is what this person said. I do really like that element of it, so big fan of this, highly recommend. It's also very readable, and what I mean by that is, if you're not a big reader, if you don't read often, but you're kind of looking for something to read that's motivating or inspiring and isn't gonna like really weigh you down and feel really tiring to read, that's kind of what I mean by it's very direct and straightforward. Like, you don't feel like you have to do any mental gymnastics. It's really good. I like it. So that's that. The next 2 books I don't have with me, which is very upsetting because I love to wave a book around while I'm talking about it. The first one being Babel, which I actually checked my Goodreads and I finished it in November, and I can't believe I haven't spoken about it. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars, and I'll tell you why. Because it's probably one of my favourite books of all time. So to rob it of its 5th star is rude, frankly. But I thought the plot, intricacy, and execution was phenomenal. I thought the building of the political landscape was insane. I thought the actual construction of each chapter, of all the footnotes, I loved the footnotes. The extra context that she added in, I just thought it was masterfully created, the entire thing. The only thing, and I mean the only thing that I thought, I don't know about this, was I felt that the characters could have used a little more development. I didn't feel as attached to them as I wanted to. Like I was trying to hold on to something and I didn't feel like she gave us enough. And that was the only thing. So the main characters are Robin, Remy, Victoire and Letty. Loved Robin. I thought he was the best developed, but that was quite easy because he was the one that he was the lens through which we experienced the story. Then Remy, who was his best friend and was probably the only other person in the story that I was properly attached to. And then Victoire and Letty, we did get some development for them. She did like interludes for the characters and we got a little something, and when we got those I thought like, okay, like I'm getting a little more. But they came at quite odd times in the book, I thought. Letty's was at a very specific time, very crucial time, and then Victoire's was right at the end. Like I think it may have been the final part of the book. I think it was. Please keep in mind that I haven't touched this book for 3 months, so if I'm getting anything wrong I apologise, but my overall review is that it was absolutely incredible. I just would have liked a little more building of the characters because I'm so much more a character person than a plot person, and even though I can appreciate that was one of the most incredible plots with so many layers, so much nuance, so much to it, it was really good. It took me on quite a journey. And then a book that I read last week or a couple of weeks ago, I think I read it over the span of like 2, maybe 3 weeks, was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. And I've been told to read this by so many different people, and I knew that it was going to be really good. I'm a sucker for Greek mythology. I kind of always have been. I don't really know why, because it's quite violent, and I'm not really into violence as a general thing, but I love Greek mythology and I loved this book so much. I love that it's not told through Achilles' perspective, it's told through the perspective of someone who loves him. I don't want to say too much because it's really good. I think I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. The ending, when I put the book down I was like, I'm gonna have to process that. Like, I'm not going to be able to pick up another book for a few days, because that was a lot. It was very moving, the end. I don't know, I just think it was really well done, the way all of the character complexities came together, and how the actions of one person had a huge effect on everyone else. I thought that was really well done. And then I think maybe my favourite part was when they spent time with Chiron. I never know where the emphasis is in these names, okay? I've got Achilles and I've got Odysseus, and that's about it. Everyone else, I really struggle. I really enjoyed their time with Chiron. I think I'm saying that right. And that feeling of being connected to Earth and to the seasons, and I highly recommend. It was really well written. It was very emotive and it was very intense in a lot of places. It's very graphic. Which, like I say, Greek mythology. So I was expecting that, but it's still, I thought it was written well in that sense of like, it still made me go like, ooh. But yeah, those are the books that I've read recently. I don't know what I'm going to read next. I'm still technically reading How to Win a Grand Prix by Bernie Collins, but I haven't picked that up in a while. Another book that politely I think could have done with a little more editing, because I think a lot of the sentences that I'm trying to read are sentences that would flow so much better if someone was speaking them, but the moment you write them down word for word, you have to kind of edit and rearrange a little bit for it to flow better. And I just feel like there are moments when I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have phrased that like that, because it comes across a little clunky as a read. Maybe I should get the audiobook, maybe that would be better. But it does make me think I'd love to be a book editor, because I notice these things. And I never see it as like a fault of the writer when they're not a writer. Like, Bernie Collins isn't a writer, and neither is Susie Wolf. I wouldn't expect them to... Does that make sense? I wouldn't expect them to do it perfectly and be like, wow, that was extraordinarily written, because people who are writers spend years and years and years and years honing their craft. Do you know what I mean? But it makes me think, like, I would love to be an editor for someone who isn't a writer. Anyway, I have quite a few things I need to do today. I have a lecture at 2. Well, it's a seminar. Seminar 2 till 3. The final hour of the 3rd day of practice for... It's not practice at all, it's testing for Formula 1 is at 3. I completely forgot about it yesterday because I've been very distracted by the fact that I'm not doing this article. Basically, I'm taking an extra module this semester, but I'm not taking it to get an extra qualification. I'm taking it for another thing. I'm doing an extra module and I don't have to do the assessments, basically. I'm going for interest. However, as I predicted may be the case, my lecturer has said to me, why don't you just like give it a go? And I went, yeah, sure. So I've been trying to come up with a solid idea that I feel confident enough to write about, but it just hasn't really been happening. I was going to do it on Wednesday and then I didn't. And then I was going to do it yesterday and then I didn't. So it does need to happen in the next couple of days, but today I need to prioritise doing a little bit of reading for this seminar. Then I need to make sure that I've done everything I need to do research-wise and scripting-wise for my first track walk of the year, because I'm going to do a track walk for testing over on Instagram and TikTok. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to vacuum my room, because I was meant to vacuum, or I was planning to vacuum on Wednesday, and then I went downstairs to get the vacuum and it was grim. I assumed that it hadn't been emptied, like looking at it from the outside I was like, oh, it hasn't been emptied, I'll just empty it. And then I go to empty it and it's pretty much empty, but all of the stuff in it that made me thought it wasn't empty is like stuck to the inside. It's right here, I'll show you. So this is what it looks like. It's quite a small vacuum. And it was like, I could see like this, all black, and I was like, oh, it hasn't been emptied. And I go like that, and it's empty except for like stuck to the inside. Disgusting. It was so gross. So instead of doing the logical thing and vacuuming first and then emptying it and then giving it a thorough clean, I decided I was going to give it a thorough clean immediately. And then I had to wait 2 days for the filter to dry, because you don't want to be putting a wet filter back into a vacuum. So it's been 2 days, so I'm going to vacuum. And then I probably need to mentally regroup, because I'm not really sure what I'm going to do after that. I think it is going to have to be the research for the track walk, because the track walk needs to go up today. So if I do research and get a script done, then I can leave that. Then I can make sure I've had lunch before I go to my seminar. Then I get back, watch the final hour of testing. Why is it only 1 hour of testing? I do have something to say about that. I don't understand why they would only show the final hour, because obviously normally they do like a morning session, afternoon session. It's just very strange. It just feels very strange. I don't know. I don't like it, but I suppose it's a good thing, because I can't really afford to spend 6 hours for 3 days straight watching Formula 1 cars go round and round a track. I'm gonna go vacuum. Yeah. Rachel got me flowers, isn't that cute? I had such a palaver getting a vase for them because basically I don't have a vase here. I never buy myself flowers. I've thought about it a couple times and I just always forget when I'm in the shop, and Rach sent me flowers for Valentine's Day, which was adorable. And I arrived home from Brighton, no less. I went to Brighton to film a track walk and it was gorgeous because it was so sunny. Everything was just glowing. It was the best day I could have gone. Filmed a track walk, it was great. Got home to a package, and I was expecting a package anyway, but it was much bigger than the package that I was expecting, so I was like, what is this? And I opened it and it had a cute little message in it, and from the way the note was phrased, I knew that it was from Rach, so I messaged her and I was like, have you bought me flowers? And she was like, yeah, and I was like, thank you, that's very sweet. And then I thought, right, so I need to go and buy a vase. So I'm like, I'm just going to go to B&M. I'm just going to go on a little bit of a walk. I'm going to go to B&M because B&M sells everything. Guess what B&M doesn't sell? Vases. There were a lot of vases that had like synthetic plants in them, but they were stuck to the base of the vase, so you couldn't take out the synthetic thing, because obviously the thing it was selling was like the synthetic plant. But there were so many vases that I was like, oh, that'll be perfect, but it had like crap in it, and I was like, okay, never mind. There was one type of vase that didn't have anything in it that could have been good, but the instructions on my flowers, I don't know why I was like, I must follow it to the letter. The instructions on my flowers said, get a vase that has a wider base than top, and it was literally completely the opposite of that. It had a really thin base and then it got wider and then it kind of came back. It was a very strange shape, but whatever. I nearly bought it and I just thought, no, never mind, I'll go to Tesco. So I went to Tesco. At this point, I'm kind of in a bad mood because I've been walking up and down B&M. I must have gone up and down every single aisle in that maze of a shop 3 times? Every aisle. Because I was like, I must be missing something. It's B&M. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? So then I went to Tesco and they did have vases, but they had really small vases. When I tell you, like, no bigger than that in height. There were maybe like 15 of those. Next to them was a big space on the shelf where there was a little sticker for bigger vases, but there were no bigger vases. And I went, okay, cool. At which point I messaged Lauren and I said, do you have a vase I can borrow, please? And she did, which is where the lovely Pride and Prejudice vase is from. It's Lauren's, it's not mine. But I have flowers. A very long-winded way of explaining that. It's Pancake Day. Happy Pancake Day. I'm such a big fan of Pancake Day. I didn't celebrate it at all last year. I didn't make pancakes last year. I was in my accommodation and I was just like, no, like, I'm not going to bother. I've had some lectures this morning. I was meant to have 3, but my first one was cancelled, so I have had 2 and they were good. The second one, it was like the perfect temperature in the room to just make you so extremely drowsy. I was like doing this, you know, when you're trying to like really open your eyes, maybe that'll combat the fatigue. It was just doing absolutely nothing. And then I went outside and it was quite cold and I was like, okay, well now I'm awake, but that's not very helpful because the lecture's over. But anyway, it's Pancake Day and I'm very excited, and Lauren and I are going to make pancakes later and I'm truly thrilled. I wanted to do a little update on what I've been watching recently because I just haven't really been on here. Like, I just wanted to do a little chit chat. So I started watching The West Wing when we were in America. I'd seen the first, I want to say like season and a half before, and then for some reason I just stopped. And then it was on US Netflix and I was like, I'm about to devour this. And I did. I watched at least one every day, which when you're on holiday is, I think, quite an achievement because, like, you're busy. But whenever Rach and Layla were, like, getting ready for the day, I would always shower first and then I would sit in front of the West Wing and, like, brush my hair and do whatever I needed to do in front of the TV, and then they would, like, do their makeup or hair or whatever they needed to do. And so they were, like, in the bedroom using the mirrors, and I was just like, I'll be fine, I'm just going to watch The West Wing. So I recently finished season 3. Every single season, at the end of the season, there's like a big thing that happens, which is understandable because that's generally how pacing works in a season. You have like a cliffhanger or you have like a big event at the end of a season so that it like wraps the whole season up, makes it feel worthwhile. That's great. But the end of season 3, I was just like, that's enough of that, thank you. So I've been taking a bit of a break from that because, I don't know, it just really bothered me. Not from like it was written well and it was acted well and it was done really well, like not in a critical way, but just like I was offended. They hurt my feelings. You know, that's how I closed the laptop, I went, my feelings are hurt, I'm not going to watch that for a little while. So I haven't really touched it in like 2 weeks, which is very unusual. I've literally been watching it non-stop since end of December, really. But I have been watching The House of Guinness. I love it. One thing about me is I love an accent, and I've never been able to master the Irish accent, ever. It's just eluded me for so long. And I so far have watched 6 of the 8 episodes. That's 6 hours of just constant Irish accents. I'm loving it. It's been on my list on Netflix for ages, and I've just never been in the right mood. I have to be in a very specific mood to start a new show or watch a new film. Any kind of new content, I have to be like ready to receive new information. I'm a big rewatcher. But something came over me, I was like, I'm going to watch it. And I'm really enjoying it. I'll be interested to see if they do a season 2 and what they do with it if they do a season 2. But I still have 2 episodes left, so I might finish that probably tomorrow, I reckon. But that's what I've been watching recently. I also watched a film called Rain Man, which is a Tom Cruise, Dustin Hoffman? Is that right? I really enjoyed. Layla and Rach watched it at home, and then Layla told me about it and she was like, I think you'd like it, I think you should watch it and let me know what you think. And I really liked it. I thought it was quite understated in a lot of ways. It's quite dated, like it's very clearly from the 80s. Just some of the narrative choices, like it's, you have to take it with a pinch of salt in a certain sense. There were a couple of things that I just thought, like, who wrote this? And I like I say, I appreciate it's from the 80s, so that there were very different understandings of mental health, of autism specifically. It's a big part of the film, and I get that. So disclaimer, like, it's dated. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't heard of it, apparently it's quite big. I'd never heard of it. I mean, it's Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman, so of course it's quite big. But if you're looking for an understated film that might get you a little bit emo, go crazy. I think I'm gonna end the vlog here. I kind of told myself when I started filming that I would only film when I was in the mood to do so. I never want to put the camera on and like pretend, because I don't know, I've had a couple of rough days this week. Even on Saturday when I had a lovely day, like I really enjoyed myself. I went to Brighton, I walked along the beach, I went to the lanes, which was gorgeous. There were some really cool shops. I didn't go in any of them, but I walked past loads. Parking, £15 for 3 hours. I wasn't about to go browsing in shops and upping that. £5 an hour. Let's move on. Even that day when it was really sunny, I had a lovely time. I still got home and just felt a bit deflated, even though I knew I'd had a good time while I was there. I don't know. So I feel like I've stayed true to that idea that I only was going to film when I was in the mood to. I hope you enjoyed. If you made it all the way here, I appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. I don't know when the next one will be, but there will be a next one, so I will see you then.